So here I am. I guess you could call this quaranstreaming, since I'm like streaming live audio during a quarantine. Haha, get it? Alright, live quaranstreaming feed. Uh, as long as this mic stays on, maybe it'll be through the mic, otherwise we'll be back to the phone. Uh, Honestly, I don't even know how well this feed is going through the mic. Let's see what we get here. Because I'm kind of curious. Says, yeah, I'm hearing static from like a certain angle, but then again, I'm not sure. So let's sort of come back to Facebook. And I'm like on here. Okay, so let's see where we are. Quarantine streaming. Woohoo! So obviously, I haven't streamed in like forever. Hey, Natalia, how you doing? Um, so this is going to be like kind of cool. So let's see. I like leaving this page and going, and let's see if this is annoying or not. Wait, no, hold on. That's not where I want to like see. Oh, there I am. So let's see how this really plays out, cause I'm curious to see what the audio is like. And alright, so give me a second. Curious to see what the audio is like. Oh, okay. That's not that bad. I was concerned, I was like, because some of the feedback I'm getting from the mic is sort of like, honestly, I could do without, but yeah, that sounds sort of like okay. So as long as I hold the mic away from my face, I guess I'm producing good sound. Um, so how is everyone doing during the quarantine? During the voluntary quarantine that we're under? Seriously. Anyone else in CUNY want to speak up? I know Fenella Douglas and a few people on my wall. Feel free to chime in. Right, so it's been like an interesting, what's it been, 2 weeks since we've seen each other, practically. Um, and as for my streaming audience, oh boy, it's been a while, hasn't it? When was the last time I streamed? It had to be like a month ago. I should do this more often. I really should. You would think with this and 3 YouTube channels, I'd like pump it up, like seriously. But yeah, I'm not. I haven't been feeling it for a while, so obviously I haven't been. But that I could change. I also miss like the walks walks, bikes, runs we used to have back prior, what was it, like 2012 to 2013 or so. Those were fun. Just take you guys out hiking, since I know a lot of you won't get out on your own, and it's like the only time sunlight will reach you. So yeah, God forbid. Um, I must have like a large collection of vampires on my wall. I'm kidding. Anyway, so I know somewhere back the crowd is like, Oh, there's a couple of people. Anyway, not so important right now. So, coronavirus blues. Who's singing and who is not? I see a lot of people posting this thing about, well, they went off and made a sacrifice so you could sit on a couch. And it's like, why even conflate those points? You're seriously doing some sad commingling of facts there. Anyway, so stop it, please do. If you want to say appreciate those people who came before, say it. If you want to say be responsible and self-quarantine yourself, say that too. Don't conflate the 2 points, because in a lot of cases, what many of you are doing are combining 2 facts that aren't really all that true. For one, a lot of the people you're talking about who should stay on the couch are the same people you're trying to present as making a big sacrifice. So yeah, no, a lot of these people are the elderly you're talking about, and they're going out there and doing this because they feel, it's a God-given right to do, and I'm not going to argue for or against that. That's not the point of this rant. My point is, by sort of mixing these facts up, you're missing the finer point of a lot of them are them. A lot of younger people who take serious their responsibility and their commitment. Hey Kevin, how you doing? A lot of people who are younger who take serious their commitment to this are actually doing voluntary quarantine when necessary, and they're the ones more than likely you find, I won't say sitting at home. Obviously, no one wants to be dormant, but they are staying at home and not getting in the way of things, and they're finding different ways to entertain themselves. You'll see them post to YouTube and Vimeo a lot more, and Facebook. So, yeah, we're the ones who are not getting so much in the way. The ones who are getting up there and getting in the stores and driving the madness are people who are between, I'd say, the 65 to 85 range, which generally speaking are boomers to younger silent gen. I'm sorry, I have to say it. It's not. There aren't really a lot of Gen Xers out there doing this because there aren't a lot of us. And some millennials, I'll grant you, are doing it, but not as much as people over 65. They're doing it the most, and they're getting out there, and they're crowding a lot of stores, and they're doing a lot of driving on the road, as they always enjoy to drive in their brand new Caddies, and who could blame them? But yeah, so it's a lot more of them. I'm not saying there aren't outliers. There are always outliers, but statistically, things fall like this. And so when you put up those memes oh, these people sacrifice so you could sit on a couch, you're missing the point. The people who you're pointing to who sacrifice are the people not sitting on the couch. They're the ones who are out there in the stores. The boomers. Am I wrong? Boomers are the ones by majority out there in the stores. When you go in the store, how many millennials do you really see?
I don't know. I don't think I see many. I have to pay attention. A lot of rumors, but it's hard to say. I mean, it's so crazy.
Let's put it this way: do a lot of them seem like? By the way, this is my sister. So, do a lot of them seem like over 50 or under 50?
Like, I'm not sure, because it's so crazy. You go in there, it's like a war zone in the store.
You know what over 55 looks like when you see it?
They say middle age. Like, there's a video of Costco in Brooklyn, and they're getting into a fight over, like, paper products or toilet paper.
Yeah, but middle age is 40-ish, 50-ish.
They could be older, I'm not sure, it's hard to tell.
Right, well, older is still boomer territory, and that's my point.
Yeah, it could be, yeah.
And this is what I'm saying. So when you post something that says, you should sit on a couch because these people went overseas, you're missing the point. And my sister was sort of shaking her head in agreement, and then she walked out because even she was laughing at it. She's like, "Yeah, you're right. That sort of makes sense." I mean, oh wow. So, I lost the microphone. That's nice. But I'm producing via the phone itself, so this should be kind of cute. Hey, Velda, how are you doing? So, yeah, here's the thing. You just need to stop those memes. Hey, Angela, it's nothing personal. It's just that when you conflate facts, you sort of make things out to be other than what they are. Okay, I don't want to get too lost in that. So, how is everyone doing? I hope well. And, so, anyway, right, okay. I don't want to get too lost in one thing. So, we have now a national emergency situation. We've had what was it I heard yesterday? I think it was San Francisco or someplace out in California went to 24-hour lockdown now, so they're SIP. And for those people who don't know what SIP is, it means shelter in place. You basically lock yourself in your house and you never leave. Hey, we can play Twister. Right, so it's sort of like that. So a lot of places out west are going that direction, and I know we've already had one person who's gone that way, or one location who's gone that way. New York City seems to be pushing that way, and this is very important, because if we get a shelter-in-place order in this general vicinity, we're basically going to be like Italy. Now, before that happens, let's start to take stock of a few things that are important now. Now, a lot of people criticize China for not supposedly getting ahead of this, but the fact of the matter is they were one of the first to go ahead and put in a top-down SIP initiative, and this forced people to shelter and hunker down right in their homes and stay there. And now, as of today, for the first time ever, China is reporting 0 new cases, which, if you remember what China was reporting towards the beginning, is a big, it's a pretty big deal. And it has at least some, like, sense of hope there. So, anyway, so, that's hopeful. Now, South Korea is another place. They seem to be going that direction, but it's not officiated yet. And again, shelter in place. The alternative is to do what Italy did, and we all know the mess that's Italy right now. So, yeah, we do not want to ignore this. I'm not saying we should be held to, like, not breathing at all or anything ridiculous like that, but voluntary quarantine, if we go out in limited amounts. Like, I'm serious. I've gone to the Dwayne Reed, and when I've gone in on a normal day, that Dwayne Reed has had no more than like 3, 4, 5 people in it. And now all of a sudden there are like 20 or so people, like, let alone 10 people standing online. You people are just like, you want this to happen, don't you? So yeah, come on, people. One, stop spreading the stupid on the couch meme, or whatever. Some of it going around as memes, others are going around as posts. Stop it. It's fallacy. And it conflates a lot of facts. Two, the people who are out there, get your asses home. And I'm not saying to be a prisoner in your home, but don't go and crowd a store full of 50, 100 people when you know this is what Italy did, and Italy screwed up for it. Don't, like, seriously, we have a man leading this nation. Oh, no, sorry. Not leading it. Misleading it into hell. And a lot of you people are, I don't know. Here's my point. So, regardless of how crappy Trump is on a leader, and Pence isn't better at all in any way, shape, or form, you people should be thinking, first and foremost, of yourself, your welfare, the welfare of your children, the welfare of the people you love back where you are going, the welfare of your friends who you care for back where you are going when you get out of that store. And a lot of you aren't. Because I tell you, I went yesterday from one store, which was absolutely no one in it, next door to Dwayne Reed, who had a few packs of toilet paper here and there. They got restocked on a few things. You people had taken the store, which regularly had no more than, I'd say, a few people in at a time, and made it so crowded that even the line was 20 or so people. As soon as I saw that, I walked out. I have no patience. And here's the kicker. The 6-year-old woman who was standing online, who I walked past, and mind you, I walked like decent distance away from her, all of a sudden, abruptly took her leg to, like, put it over the toilet. She had, like, 2 things of paper towels, 2 things of toilet, and she just, like, sheltered I guess it was paper towels and toilet paper, one or the other, that was, like, at her feet. Like, yo, if I seriously wanted to, I would, but I'm not interested in it. If I didn't grab it from back there, I'm not grabbing it from your helpless, lifeless hands. I'm not that interested in your shenanigans. People seem to think this is a game, and this is what got Italy into trouble, and this is what's going to get this nation into trouble as we go forward. Come on, people. We can't underestimate this. This is going to be serious. And if we come around tomorrow and we find, we already found like one of the biggest increases in this area in one day. We went practically 3 times the amount of cases in a day. What has to happen? Do we need to quadruple our mortality rate on top of it? Get yourself educated, get yourself matured, and get your ass home. Unless you have an absolute necessity to be out there. Okay, now that rant's over. Classes. Oh, another fun topic. So, classes are basically going well. I guess. No, they are. I mean, it's sort of like, it's trying now because in one half, I'm sort of like, I miss the whole classroom experience. But in another half, between like my learning disabilities and my hearing, I appreciate the fact I now have like technology to make it all that much more accessible to me. I really do appreciate this general support that isn't usually there, that can be there now because it's sort of cool and it's sort of awesome. I can put on my headset and I can blast volume so it's classes can be heard 20 doors down. I'm exaggerating, but I can hear it. And I can use all this assistive technology. I can use the assistive technology to take notes, and it's all available. It's also the thing of usually my commute out there requires a lot of planning, because getting on Staten Island and going over to Brooklyn isn't a short trip. I mean, even if it was Manhattan, it wouldn't be. So when I go out there, it really, really is draining. And to do classwork on top of that is so much more maddening, or trying at the very least. So now that I don't have to do the commute, and I could just be here and sort of be okay, what's this? What's my reading schedule like that? I gotta do 10 pages. Cool. Let me relax. I'll do 10 pages. I'll write on that. What else? Let me plan this out. Let me take care of that project. And these little things get much more attention, which allows me to develop a lot more. I have a funny feeling that at least, and I won't say which, I have a funny feeling at least one of my essays from one of my classes suffered because of this, but I won't say which. I don't want to give something away, or give it energy, rather, and I want to let it come back to me as it was. And then when I see it, which probably pretty close to right, I may even be like, I may even be exactly right, but usually I overestimate the impact of my negatives, so I just like to, like, if I say something, I'll make it a general statement, and I'll let the thing come back to me, because I feel that way I'm not putting the energy out there, and I'll let things form as they may, and usually that way, I'm thoroughly surprised a lot of the time, because things come back a lot better than what they would have. What else? So, anyway, so, right, that's kind of fun. We used Blackboard in at least two of the classes. But it looks like we might be using more, Zoom. Not just for classes, but a lot of, like, extracurricular sort of, boy. Like, a lot of extracurricular activities. So yeah, that should be fun. In either case. But yeah, so cool. I am trying to think now. So, I mean, let's, like, get off of a few of these things. Happy birthday, Charmaine. And what else? Did you? I was planning to use this time to go to the gym more often. Sort of get out there to, like, my person. But yeah, it's like, then I went to cause the gym I go to has an app that lets me know the hours, so all of a sudden that says, well, because of COVID-19, guess what? We're closed. And so that was sort of like a big disappointment, as you can imagine. So I'm sort of out of that as well. What else? Right, so yeah, there is a lot being voluntarily closed down for COVID-19. So things like gyms, libraries, don't expect them to be opening or operating, universities included. So try and make preparations. Also, don't put yourself in a position for, like, an appointment. If you're not sure if the place is gonna be open, call beforehand. Try and check with a lot of things, because there are a hell of a lot of closures, and a lot of people you think would normally just be there, Johnny on the spot, are pretty much canceling and, like, walking away. So yes, expect the unexpected. Oh man, it's sort of hard not to talk about anything else. Um, Especially since it's one thing preoccupying. Even, hey, Judy, how you doing? I mean, even if you go away from it for 2 seconds, there's always a headline related to it, like someone making some stupid comment over the coronavirus or someone. So it's kind of like hard to get away from right now because even where it isn't part of your daily life, it sort of is. So I think we're all stuck in that, like, right about now. Let's see. What else? I I think honestly one thing that's probably going to like change through all this, hopefully, is people are no longer going to, I don't want to say people, I'll leave it at this. Government officials will no longer be able to default to like an I don't care position. Because honestly speaking, Trump, and I know a lot of people are going to hate on what I say because I'm saying it about Trump. And, well, not so much here, but when this audio is rebroadcast on YouTube to a public audience, I can see a lot of people coming out of the woodwork. But Trump isn't the first one to drop the ball on this. We had George Walker Bush, that's the son, dropped the ball pre 9/11. There were clear indications all the way up to him that something was going to happen and that it needed some serious follow up. And they had this indication for months and months and months, and he stood by and said Al Qaeda was not a problem. So, it sort of goes along that line, and no one wants to say it per se, because it's all like been real simple partisan politics until then. And when you get into something like that, you're actually critiquing someone for their lack of something. And in this case, it would be Trump's lack of leadership. It was like his responsibility when all indications were there in October, November to say, you know what? This is serious. People, you need to get out there. You need to get tested. If you're sick, self quarantine. And yeah, he needed to be a leader as much as Bush needed to be a leader in his right. And the fact they didn't, and they dropped the ball, and they were given the choice to drop the ball, and they dropped it miserably, is a statement as to, like, where do we draw the line? When do we say this is acceptable? Because we really can't say it's acceptable at that point. When even like, okay, now you probably have a lot of pre 9/11 chatter on Facebook. But back then you didn't have Facebook. So all this was done in IRC channels. And for those who remember America Online, it was done through AIM, or AOL Instant Messenger channels, where a lot of people chatted, chatted consistently about videos made by what's his face? We all know the man with the plan over there in the Middle East. Or Bin Laden. Everyone is chattering about Bin Laden's latest videos, and they all saw this, and they, you had to be blind not to know this was leading up to something. And similar with the coronavirus, when it started popping up in November, October of last year, even December, we had a lot of writing on the wall that this was going to be a serious issue. And, well, we're not even talking about coronavirus, we're talking about COVID-19, which is one of a myriad of coronavirus, which we've already had multiple coronavirus outbreaks. So this is not something new that Trump had to say, I didn't expect it. It was like old news. He should have said, you know what, SARS, they didn't do as much. MERS, they didn't do as much. And it ended up being bad. Not horrible, but still bad. So let's do more. That would have been the responsible thing on Trump's part, because that makes sense. Instead, what we have is an echoing of how George Walker Bush related to 9/11, which is like, oh yeah, it's not a problem. Nah, it's gonna come and go, you see. And here we are. And after all that, we are, let's see, if we say that that was Trump's attitude in December, January, we are here in March, which is which is about 2 to 3 months out. And guess what? It's a major problem that we're just now coming to terms with. So, yeah, so I think coming out of here is we're going to. I mean, no one wants to say this, but I think we're going to have to honestly say there has to be a threshold where if you drop something this major, it's like, no, you can't, like, walk away from it, and people may not like that, and I mean, I'm sure there'll be times when, like, Democrats won't like to admit that. I mean, it just goes without saying, people like their parties, and they fall in love with them, and they become all, like, tied and intertwined to them, but in this case, it just happens to be Trump and the last major ball dropper. In fact, if you count the financial disaster, this ball dropper did it twice, would be Bush. He dropped 9/11, of course, but there's also the lesser known, lesser impacted financial scandal, which the only reason I say lesser impacted was because the only people the financial thing truly impacted were the people who had major investments, which means you had to have making money type of deal. The middle class got it too. I mean, they got it like, in their household mortgages, and that's serious. But what I'm talking about are, like, the rollovers, the people who put money into companies like IBM that most people depend on. And I'm not saying they suffered personally, but their investments did, and that affected this country humongously. So, yeah, so when a person drops a ball like that, or like Trump did with this, sorry, I don't care which camp you're in, my president, not my president, blue, red, green, orange, the man let this country down substantially, and he deserves to be held over fire and criticized for it. And anyone who thinks he doesn't, by measure of some, like, political favoritism or political pantheism or anything of that sort, or political nepotism, or anything of that sort of nature, is really like, I'm sorry, you're blind. A standard of care means a standard of care, and this man owed a standard of care to his country, which he miserably failed in delivering. And I think coming out of this, it's the one question we're gonna have to ask: how? Because we can't let another 9/11 happen. We can't let another COVID-19 happen. So the question becomes, going out of this crisis, how do we hold these leaders accountable to a said standard? I mean, because that standard has to be a hell of a lot higher than, let's say, the local congressman just elected for 2 years, who's a junior, who never even saw the, inside the White House. I mean, this man has his finger on the football coach, and that's serious stuff. You have to hold that man to a mega serious amount of accountability. And if you think not, I'm sorry, but that's a measure of American patriotism. If you can hold someone to that level of accountability, especially in that office, you are not being as patriotic as you think. You may want to seem that way. You may love the idea of how it looks with your man in the office, but you're still not as patriotic as you think. Patriotic in this country requires an advanced form of love, a general love for humanity, a general overarching standard of care that you just don't get by oversimplifying things. Things can't just have a quantitative formation, like the color blue is blue. You must also have a qualitative, like what language are we referring to this blue? And what shade of blue? Is it a royal blue? Is it kin? Is it, oh god, there are so many things. Is it like a bluish teal? Is it like an ocean blue? Is it a weird greenish emerald blue? And so on. I mean, we can go on, but I think you're beginning to get what I'm saying. When people talk about the spirit of the law in this country, they're talking not just simple wording, they're talking intent, what it was defined for, how the precedence has been formed around it. These are the things we're referring to, and they're a lot more complicated than black and white. Okay, I'm going to get lost in that if I do it for too long, so let me get off of that. But yeah, it's definitely going to be one of the major things we have to look at when we come out of this. What happened to, our leaders, especially our wonderful commander-in-chief in that office, when they greatly, see, I don't want to keep on saying dropping the ball, because that sort of suggests something like, oops, I dropped an egg on the floor, and that's not what this is. This is like when you have all indications, there's a fire on the other side of the door, and then you just say, let it burn. That's what this is. And we have to ask ourselves, as a country, as a nation, when we have a leader who does that, Or are we simply gonna let them walk through? And I don't think that's the answer, but and I don't even think that's a question. We have a much more specific question, which is we're not going to let them walk through. But how do we handle it? I mean, we have to now think about a higher, a higher, there's a way I'm considering this. We have to think about a higher, qualitative response to this. Not just like, are you a bad boy? I should punish you. No, it's like, obviously, we can't just like rip him out of office and do this and do that. That's not gonna work. If it would have worked, we would have had it already. But by the same token, there should be something instrumental in place. And I would even go so far as to say it's something that should be enactable, proactive to, you know, all of, like, at least all of Trump's term, to the point that, let's say we say it's like, well, because you did this, you're no longer entitled to your pension, the lifetime salary, of course, and we all know Trump probably wouldn't need it. Or we could say one of a number of other things. But the point is to penalize him in a recognizable way that says, hey, you screwed with this country, something awful, and why we can't just, like, throw you out to the wolves yet. We need you to know this, and we need you to know going forward, you have a job to do, and you need to do it right by all of us, not just by some. When you are elected to that office, you are the representative of the whole union, not just the one person, not just the one party. And acting like you could do what you damn well please, like some of these people do, is, sorry, you just can't do it. That was a fun topic. Now let's talk about fun topics. Lemonade. Why is this dripping? So, let's talk about, I don't know what to talk about. So, we sort of talked about the type of people going out to the stores and that they're not what the meme represent. I mean, if they were, you'd have a lot less, like, Gen Xers and that posting the meme, but they aren't. Most of the memes are being posted by millennials and Gen Xers trying to raise awareness, and the person they're raising awareness of is not, like, so young anymore. And I'm gonna quit calling them out by generation. They know who they are, and if they want to put themselves at risk, I'm not going to parent them elsewhere. I don't fear it's my responsibility. Right, okay, let's get out of this because, we need to get into other things. So, for one, how long have I even been on here? I can run my mouth, can't I? Right, so, in any event, I think we're going to do a lot more Quaranstreaming, and not necessarily about these topics either, since I think a lot of this stuff is heavyweight, and I think it deserves its own forum, but I don't think it's like full-time stuff. But yeah, so the reason I got off this was the gym. Damn it. You people ruined the gym for me. Why couldn't you stay home and quarantine then? Alright. Seriously though. So, what we're looking at right now is probably anywhere between June and August. Will be the end of this, hopefully. Because I'm trying to estimate by what they're giving, and also what the, what they're getting, plus what is, like, going on around this right now, what we know historically from China and Korea, and what we know. I mean, honestly speaking, this could go on all the way to September if we do like Italy. So, for those of you who are, like, still jam-packing those stores, be my guest. But, yeah, so, anyway, hopefully we'll be out of this soon, because I'm going stir crazy. I know you are, too, at some point. Right, so, let's talk about other things. Like the fact I don't need hearing aids for you people anymore. Well, at least for now. What's Quaranstreaming gonna look like? Okay, now let's get off of... So, what am I gonna do with you people? I'm trying to think now. I may start reading you bedtime stories. That would be fun. There once was a fair maiden in the land of Lilliput. Okay, so, yeah, I think what I'm going to start doing is start planning lighter weight topics, instead of just, like, veering off into these rants. I'll still do these rants, obviously, because, they're part of, like, the whole persona and whatnot of this, but I think I'm going to slightly get away from them and start to work on, how should I put this? Start to work on other things. And getting you out of this is like, if I can get my butt up on that bike and bike to, like, the beach and back, that might be, like, a really appealing thing. I haven't done, like, live videos like that in a long time, and I think it's, like, way overdue. Not just, like, but me getting the exercise. Anyway, so, aside from that, ooh, I wonder if public parks are open. Yeah, no. Okay, so maybe not the beach. Quarantine. But we can still see other things. I mean, there's a lot out my door. It's not like inside is all that's there. So, yeah, I mean, we can see things, and maybe I'll start, like, yeah, I think if I can get to the beach, like, once or twice, or so, bring you guys out there, and maybe have, like, live streaming from there, and it could be a good thing, especially with the video, because I know we don't get to do a lot of that anymore. Where have you been? No, seriously. I know it's been my class schedule and other things, but it would be nice to, like, get up and get out and, like, start doing this again. So definitely a commitment. So let's put that down. Live corn streaming outside the house. What else? Do. People in New Jersey are, from what I hear, having a ball. They're just like going back and forth like nothing's changed. But then again, it's New Jersey. Um, Maybe that's what else. No, seriously. Um, so we have a long time to go together, and I have a while with classes. So I guess this is gonna be sort of like, I don't even know if I want to talk politics mostly on this anymore. I think this may be like the last time I try and delve like mega into this. Um, so what I'll try and do from now on is find like a lot of nicer topics to like put up, like maybe Big Bird's changing career goals or something. Um, yeah, and just have a little bit more play with this, because even I'm getting like, ugh. And if we're gonna be voluntarily quarantined with all this, I'm not really gonna want to talk about politics. Especially since 90% of politics is about the quarantine now. Yeah, we want to get away from that. Alright, so, let's talk about a few other things. So, public opinions. Um, let's talk about, like, common courtesy. That's not political, and it's rather simple. It should be a rather lightweight topic. But yet it seems to be the one thing that is fleeting from society, right now. I mean, people don't like. I'm not saying man, woman, child, whatever, but if I'm walking around on crutches with a broken leg, I would think, the first thing would be, if you see me walking to a closed door and you're walking out of it, I would think it would be a natural reaction that you hold the door open for me, not because of gender, race, ethnicity, anything, but because I'm obviously struggling. But this seems to be like one of these things that's dissipated, and it's been gone, from normalcy, like as a baseline, for quite some time. And I'm kind of confused as to how, where, when, or why, because I don't see this as a gender or race or age issue. I just see it as like a basic human quality. Like, I see you're needing something, and I will, like, offer to help. If you refuse, then fine. I'm not gonna push it, but if I can and it lifts a load off you in the slightest, I'm gonna do it. And yet it seems to be like one of these things that's pretty alien to people nowadays. Um, what else? Ooh, I know. So, right, here's, like, how many people are practicing good self-care through all this? Honestly. I mean, that should be something a lot of people are practicing. And I hope if you're listening to this, you are. Um, because really, unless you practice good self care, give yourself time and space to do things, give yourself a break when things become too tense, you're really gonna wear yourself out, and then it serves no one in particular. And you'll be like, yip, yip. And it's sort of like a Pac-Man that just ran into a ghost monster, and you'll like fold up and collapse. So before that happens, yeah, take care of yourself. What else? I don't know. And I keep on saying, "Ooh, I'll research." So what I'm gonna do, in between like one end of this and the other, is I'll slowly start gathering up things and seeing like what topics I want to talk about. Um, I really don't want this channel to be all about politics, although I can go on for like hours. And I don't want it to be all intersectionality either, because in social justice, because again, I can go on it for like days and hours and months and years. And we would all leave here with like a ginormous headache. So before that happened, I want to like give us the potassium we need, the social potassium. Yeah, no, I'm joking here. Yeah, and sort of lighten it up. So that is going to be my goal. Um, I think I'm going to do more broadcasts. I'm not sure, like, cause originally I was like, I have a multi-layered approach to this, cause this will like get the audio broadcast, not the like livey chat on the bottom, but the audio broadcast will be replicated on YouTube, where then people can like pick up, listen to it, like, hate, comment, not comment. And I mean, I don't really have a huge subscribership, but whatever. And then it's there for people to listen to. So if I'm going to be doing this like multiple times and really like picking it up, I'm not sure what platform I'll be using. I mean, obviously, there's still this with Facebook, and if I did video on here, I could probably also replicate the video on YouTube. But I also have to consider, like, I could also do Vimeo. I can also do like, if I'm doing audio like this, I can do Spoon or any like podcasting platform. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Plus, it might be like fun if we could get like a community thing going, maybe on Zoom, and then we could have, or any number of platforms, and then we could get together and just like have fun conversations and just go at it, instead of me just like spitting out diatribe and like, that would be it. Anyway, it is now about 6:30. I assume I've been at this for a while. So I am going to leave you. for the evening, and I will talk again to you soon. I hope everyone has a good night.